Most people, when you talk about impulse purchases, junk food, clothes, shoes, stuff like that, my impulse purchases are rust buckets from the side of the road. You guys have that problem too? Today, I want to show you the 2 new cars that I purchased. Case closed. Love it. Signed, sealed, delivered. I'm the owner of 2 new Pontiacs. I can't keep my paws off a rusty car. Doesn't happen. If I see a rusty car on the side of the road, I'm almost always gonna figure out if it's for sale and how much somebody wants for it.
Well, here we are again, getting ready to embark on a, dare I say, another harebrained expedition to pick up another rusted Hulk out in the field somewhere. This time it's going to be 2 of them, Pontiacs, early 50s Pontiacs, I think 53, 54 Pontiacs, that I guess just going to get flipped over and see if there's any money to be made in them. But boy, well, we'll see. I don't know what the market's for 53, 54. Somebody must be collecting them out there or doing something with them. But this one, we'll hopefully, it was really cold last night, like down in the single digits. So the ground is frozen. So as long as these things will break loose from the ground, and hopefully they'll roll, we'll be able to load them on the trailer here. That remains to be seen. But anyway, that's the deal. We're going after some more cars out in the field somewhere.
What's your assessment of the condition without having seen them yet?
Well, I saw pictures of them. I'd say they're rougher than a cob. That's from my first impression.
All right.
They've been neglected, let's put it that way, for a long, long time.
So, what I purchased, a 1953 Pontiac Chieftain 2-door and a 1954 Pontiac Chieftain 2-door. Both of these cars are in what I would consider rusty condition, not great condition at all. They've both been sitting in a field. The 1954 car was actually running, the license plate was 2004, so the car actually drove into the place that I purchased it from and then had some type of an issue that it just sat there. So, for all intents and purposes, that car is complete. It was a running, driving car when it got there, which is kind of cool. Both of the cars are just absolutely full-on rust buckets. Really cool patina on the outside. On the inside, the floors are completely cut out. The guy was going to replace those, but never got to it. Sounds familiar. So both of those cars just sat for a really long time, and the guy was just trying to clean up the space. The 1953, really cool patina on this car. I love it. It's also got some really unique trim that's used by Chevies in a lot of customs. The trim that I'm talking about here is the trim that actually wraps right around the rear windows. It goes from the back, it's got a little teardrop shape under the rear side glass window, wraps all the way around the rear and around to the other side. You see this trim on a lot of Chevys. People use it because 53 Chevys have the same body shape as these cars, so they use that trim on Chevys as well. The other thing they use is that side trim. Now this car has side trim that's decent on one side, not so good on the other side, but this is also trim that's pretty common in customs. They use it on all kinds of cars. And this particular car has decent window trim, the wraparound trim, and it's got a couple extra sets of the side trim. The cars have a ton of junk inside of them. There's a bunch of extra wheels, there's a bunch of extra trim. Neither one of the cars had is complete and in running condition, obviously. With the floors being out, there's going to be a ton of work for somebody, but they're both really cool cars. Both these cars still have an engine in them. The 53 has a 6-cylinder engine that's an inline 6, and the 54 has an inline 8-cylinder, which as I found out was the more common. The 53 was the deluxe version, the 54 is the standard version, as is indicated by the data tag in the engine compartment. And I loved the look of these. I certainly prefer Chevy, and I think that neither one of these cars hold a candle to the 47 Fleetline that I have from a body style perspective. So I just can't justify keeping either one of them to build for myself, because I've got projects from now until I'm probably 90 years old already slated for me at the rate that I work. But I think that these are going to be good projects for somebody, and somebody's going to be able to use them. I bought them really inexpensively, which was the cool thing, and probably the main reason why I bought these in such terrible shape. Part of me wants to lower the cars just for the sake of taking pictures and selling them. I feel like I see that all the time, where there's a car that's really cool and it's lowered. Literally, all you have to do is cut the springs on the front, the coil springs, and on the rear put in a set of lowering blocks for the leaves, get the car nice and down low, and it just makes it that much more photogenic. Somebody is probably going to change out all the suspension stuff anyways to do away with all the old geometry components. So it's just kind of for the sake of making it more photogenic and being able to make it look more appealing on paper and in pictures to somebody. So I'm thinking that I may do that. Also on the 54, like I said, the car was actually running in 2004. That's when the license plate was on the back of it. So part of me wants to get that straight 8 running again. I don't know what all's going to be involved in that. I'm probably, if I were to just shoot from the hip, I'd probably just pull the spark plugs, change the coil out, probably check the points, put a new battery in it, obviously, try to fire it over once I got new oil and new spark plugs and those type of tune-up items in it. But it may be more trouble than it's worth. Somebody, again, on this car, somebody who's going to buy it is probably just going to rip this engine out and put a small block in it or an LS or whatever they're going to do. I'm always interested on when I see a car for sale that is it going to be more appealing to somebody who's going to try to do a nut and bolt restore, or is it going to be more appealing to somebody who's going to modify it to fit their liking, in which case some of these like little things like numbers matching engine and things like that don't really matter, or that the floors are not good because they'll put in a new floor anyways, fabricate their own stuff. So it's interesting. I know the style that I like, but it's always interesting to see what appeals to other people. So I may do some of that stuff. My plan isn't to keep both of these cars around here for a long time. My wife probably likes the idea that I'm getting rid of these cars. But overall, super solid. I just love the patina on both of these cars from a body style perspective. I try to go to a lot of car shows, and I haven't really seen many 53, 54 Pontiac Chieftains. I mean, they're out there, but they're just not very common. Not near as much as the 53, 54 Chevys. And I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that they're unique. They're not your run-of-the-mill Chevy. So there you go. So I'll be honest, I'm conflicted on whether to do anything to them, lower them, make them more photogenic, or to just get rid of them the way that they are, get them listed, get them sold. I'm trying to figure that out. Here's a question for you guys. What would you do? Would you sell them just the way that they are and have maybe minimum profit, or would you try to lower them and make them more appealing? Is the effort on these two particular cars worthwhile? I don't know. Thanks so much, guys. Subscribe if you'd like to on our channel, like the video, leave a comment on what you would do to these cars, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.